Hello and welcome to my next video. This is a series looking at PvP builds, and I thought I'd do one looking at the Necromancer. Now, the previous couple of videos I've done looked at some of the cheese type builds, builds looking at that are often used in the game, that tend to be very easy to use and not very skillful. The Necromancer's kind of different in that respect. There isn't an overall dominating way of operating a Necromancer. There's the power Necromancer, which tends to focus heavily in obviously the power skills, where they will use Death Shrouds quite substantially. The skills that you get in Death Shroud, and they would also use the Lich form to give extremely heavy damage. I think this is probably wide known that Lich form is one of the strongest elites in the game. When you become Lich form, you can take down a player within 4 or 5 shots of skill 1, and it is that powerful. The only downside for the Lich form, it is fairly squishy. It does have a long cooldown. Now, this is my Necromancer. This is one of my better characters that I tend to play on. This is my build. I have a axe focus staff build. Now, you'll know it is a bit of a weird one. I admit that it isn't the greatest build. It's just my build, how I've done it. It's personal preference. If you guys feel it's a bit stupid, fair enough. But if I explain, I'll tell you a little bit about how it works. The main reason why I decided to build the Necro the way I have is it's designed to take down particular classes that focus on boons, and I'll explain a little bit about that. First of all, let's talk about the setup. We've got the staff. We have 50% chance on critical to steal health and 50% chance on critical to inflict bleeding. Admittedly, it doesn't normally always work out that way. On the axe, we have 60% chance to remove a boon, and on the focus, signet of chilling, inflicted chill duration 20%. That affects the spinal shivers. It's got a 7 3/4 second chilled, so it's a substantial boost to that. On the Rune of the Nightmare, I'll stick with condition damage and duration. Also, the 50% chance to strike when struck to cause fear. That was 2 seconds, and it was amazing. Being 1 second, it's a little bit less. I do have it set up. You'll see for a map like Skyhammer, this build is extremely effective, and I'll talk about that a bit later. Carrion Amulet, very, very effective as well with condition damage. So we're in 44204. No maximum ways of going through this. I would like a little bit of balance to this build. So let's look at the power in the spite, trait line. Could have gone for Doomfire or Close to Death. Perhaps, but close to death, if they're below 50%, you get a 20% damage. But I'm not a power necro, I'm a condi necro. And this isn't the way I'll be going about it. Gain might when struck below, while your health is below the threshold. I don't think it's that effective either. So what we do have, gain health when you kill a foe. Spiteful Talisman reduces recharge on focus skills and increases their range. What else could I have taken? Remember, I'm on focus. When you kill a foe, you remove conditions, potentially. Reduce recharge on signets. I don't really activate them, so that's not really going to be used. Spiteful Spirit. If I was one of those Necros that uses Death Shroud a lot, then yes, but that's not me. And I don't use Life Blast and Plague Blast. They do grow up might, so again, for the Necros that use Lich form as their elite, this is very good. But I don't. We move on to the mastery line, the master section. Chill of Death. So, as I said, we look at that. Cast Spinal Shivers on a foe when attacking them while their health is below the threshold. You chill your foe. So it's the same skill as that. So I get that again. So this is all about boon removal. And I'm going to talk about that at the end. If I was a minion master, which you do get a couple out there, training the master would be good. There is potentially for axe training, but I don't tend to use these that effectively. I don't think the 20% reduction is as good as removing boons. And I could have gone for marks because obviously I have staff, but I decided against that. We go in precision and condition damage. We have 4 points in this trait line. First of all, we've got Reaper's Precision. I have chance to gain life force on critical hits. I don't use ground targeting. I don't think, I tried having Enfeeble. I didn't think it was that effective. Blinding a target will also chill, but I don't have blinds. Increased bleed duration, so that could have been good, but I chose Reaper's Precision because I feel that the life force, it really gives Necromancers the extra survivability. We don't land, so there's no point in that. Gain Fury when into Death Shroud, so again, the Power Rangers, the Power Necros can use that to effect. And then we have Terror. Fear deals damage. It deals additional damage if the target is afflicted with another condition. So, quite useful. Spectral skills have longer durations and grow at life force on use. I could have taken that. Banshee's Wail, but I don't have a Warhorn. And reduced on the corruption skills. I go with Terror because I do use Fear for that, especially if you're on Skyhammer. Using that and using Spectral Wall is also good because it's got a 2-second flee, and as well with Rune of the Nightmare, you could end up with the potential to fear them a substantial amount. We then go to Death Magic. I did have previously, if we look at, so we have to come back to this one. The conditions inflicted by Scepter skills, I don't have a Scepter, and applying weakness on critical hits. Well, I don't really have a major chance to crit, so and he increases damage for each condition on a foe. I don't think they're that useful. This build anyway. Staff Mastery reduces skills, particularly for Fear. This cuts it down by 8 seconds, the recharge. I find that extremely useful. If you're a Minion Master, then you obviously take that skill. There's different options. So I did that because I wanted the reduction on my staff skills. And then we have Soul Reaping. Could I have gone in and done, Renewing Blast, Depth Perception, Foot in the Grave? I don't think they're that, impressive trait skills. So let's start off with what I've got. I've got Fear of Death. Inflict fear on foes when I'm downed. Again, if I get downed, it's that extra fear. It is a heavy fear build. Because it really, fear, the only thing that negates fear is stability, and there aren't many skills that really allow you to keep having stability for all this time. And one of the things why as well, because I remove boons quite a lot, it does take away that stability. I don't need any of these other spectral skills, or it's all about soul reaping. And then we have Master of Terror. Your fear has increased duration. So if you can probably tell, I do spec into the fear sort of side of things. It's about condition. It's about the CC, the conditions and control. That's what I'm going for on this point, on this build. We look at the skills. We've got the Signet of Vampirism. I do actually just generally prefer the active life heal. If you are desperate, you can pop that, and then you can really get a bit of a boost. And hopefully, if you're with allies, then they can all get a bit of health. Well of Blood, I have used it before. It's similar to the Ranger skill, but I feel in the long term it's less efficient. It's a 40-second cooldown compared to the 35 for the Signet of Vampirism. What I've gone for, the Signet of the Locust, I run faster. That's all it is. Why do I run fast? Why do I want that skill? I'm just so slow. It's the lack of mobility this Necromancer has without having this skill bar. If there are a lot of condies, I may go with, if I want to spec into power, or if I want to, I have gone with Signet of Undeath in the deathmatch, sort of the courtyard map. I have gone for the Signet of Undeath. But yeah, so I spec into the speed. I like that little boost. And then we have here Well of Corruption. This is the main part of this build, with removing boons and converting boons on foes into conditions. Particularly useful against Rangers, Guardians, Elementalists, and even the Engineers and the Thieves that really use a lot of boons. This, really does remove and strip their boons. With a Guardian, you pop this and you could keep them there. they will lose all their boons and you'll be able to take them down pretty swiftly. On the opposite side, we've got converting conditions into boons. You get that bit of stability if you're taking on someone with a lot of condition damage. Again, that's really useful. Again, you can swap in some builds. Spectral Wall, as I said, I would have put in for a Skyhammer map. Occasionally I might put in Well of Suffering if I want to really spec into wells. I just stick with the Flesh Golem because I have tried going to Lich form, but I generally find it, because I'm built on a lot of fear, going into Lich form really does restrict the CC that you can have on other players. I prefer just having the Flesh Golem. You really do get the charge that it does. It does cripple as well, and it just adds that extra target that people have to use. I'm quite high health with 24,000. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of demonstration of me playing as a Necromancer. I hope this will give some idea to the type of gameplay you want. I actually enjoy playing as a Necromancer, mainly because you annoy a lot of other people with all this fear. I could be called a fearmancer. I don't know if that's even a term, but yeah, Necromancer was one of my favourite ones to actually get and complete. I think the number one that I actually finished, I finished Engineer first, and then to get 200 rank wins, Necromancer was the second one for me, because I enjoyed the stripping boon aspect. You really are able to, you're focusing on other players rather than taking away the boons, which in this game, in the PvP, can be very, very strong. And you do have players that their whole setup is based on boons. The Dagger Ellie really gets a lot of healing skills from boons, and if you change them to corruption, to conditions, they're really going to struggle. The same with the Guardians. Warriors as well, you can remove their stability. That's a key part of why I believe this Necromancer is quite a good build. It does take a little bit of practice. I'm not perfect. This is just a build that I found useful. There are other Necromancer builds out there, so go and have a look. But I find the Necromancer tends to be a profession that you do have that flexibility, because there isn't a completely dominant meta that there is for Ranger, there is for Engineer, that there is for Elementalist. The Necromancer has that ability to adapt and be a bit more flexible. And have different choices. When you come up against the Necromancer, you don't have a clue what it's going to be. Is it going to be a power Necromancer? Is it going to be a heavy condi spec Necromancer? Necromancers are a bit of a mystery one. It's the same with the Mesmer. You don't have a really good idea what the Mesmer skill, they're playing, what Mesmer build they're going to play, until you actually sort of get in combat. Whereas, when the map starts up, if I see an Engineer, I immediately think turret Engie. If they're not, that's better for me. If I see a Ranger, I know it's going to be a longbow Ranger, and you generally can get an idea just from the start of the game what their profession is, what they're going to be playing. But with the Necromancer, you've got a bit of a question mark over them, and that's why playing the Necromancer is interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the video and the battles I take part in, and I'll catch you next time.